Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Pathetic, the podcast. We have another interesting show for you tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm here with my two favorite guys in the world, Mikey C. and Jeff. Mikey, how are you?
I am fantastic, feeling great. What a couple of weeks for us here in New York. We're going to get into it in a minute, but I am riding high. New York, we are back and we are here, my friends. Jeff, how we doing?
Agreed 100%. And we obviously have the cruise coming up, which we talked about last week. So this will be the last episode. We'll do some fun things I guess we'll discuss at the end of the show while Uncle Ted and I are gone. But I'm excited for that and excited for New York sports. And let's go. Let's get rocking and rolling.
Yeah. We've had a good couple of weeks of sports. Like Jeff said, we're going on an awesome vacation. So we're going to leave Mikey to his own devices here. Maybe we'll have some surprises. We'll see. Yeah, exactly. We'll see what goes on. Guys, I don't know what you guys did this weekend. I hope you had fun. I went to Brigantine, New Jersey, which is like 2 miles from Atlantic City. And as everybody knows, I hate Atlantic City. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I just despise Atlantic City. You know, I'm the kind of, I love to play, roulette and blackjack and, poker. You can never get tables that are affordable. So really quick, my wife is playing slot machines, of course. And I sit down at an electronic roulette where you can put like 6 people around a roulette wheel and you make your bets electronically in front of you, right? So I just start, and Mikey knows I like to be left alone. Like, I don't want to converse with people if I don't really have to. But this old lady sits down next to me, and she plays like 3 or 4 spins. And then she says to me, "What was the number that just came out?" I said, 5. You see? I knew that. You know what the next number is going to be? It's going to be a derivative of 5. You're going to have 21 or 32 or 35. You're going to have 17. Watch what comes up. So then like a number 22 comes up. See, 22 is right by the 21. You could have been the 32. 32 is the next one. And then she pulls out a laminated sheet. And it's 2 round, looks like dials with the numbers for the roulette wheel on it. And then she's got all her own scribblings on it. And she goes, "Let me tell you something. Did you notice when I walked over here, the music changed?" I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "They were playing a type of music. Then the music changed. You know why? Because I'm a bit of a high roller. And now that's the signal for the computer to make it so I can't win." So the first thing I do is I look to see if she has a bag, because I don't know if she's carrying a gun or what. I have no idea, because she's like completely insane at this point. And I'm like, I got to get out of here. So I actually said to her, "All right, I got to get going. Going out to dinner with my wife." She actually says, "F your wife. I'm going to teach you how to play this roulette." I said, "No, I'm not learning how to play roulette from your system." And then I got up and walked away. And as I'm walking away, she's yelling to me, "You'll be back. They all come back." I'm like, "Oh my God."
Oh boy.
And
welcome to Atlantic City, folks.
Yeah, right.
Welcome to Atlantic City. So that was my weekend. I also want to later I'll tell you about a couple of people I met about the Pathetic podcast. But first thing we want to get into is the Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go. Mike, take it away. You're the jacked up Knick guy.
Yeah.
What were you doing Saturday? That was Sunday night. How were you feeling?
Friday night. It was it was unbelievable.
Right.
Friday night, I get home from work. I am locked into that game, and it was the second half of that game was just the best. I couldn't get enough of watching this team, watching the fans, watching the people outside, the crowd just build up, and everyone, for the most part, there were a couple of people who were doing a little bit of shenanigans, but for the most part, everyone was having a great time outside, doing the normal things that everyone in New York does when their teams win. The city is galvanized. The city is ready to go. And I can't wait for Wednesday night. This series is going to be entertaining. These teams match up very well against each other. You're going to see 2 contrasting styles. You're going to see Indiana try and move the ball as fast as they can, and the Knicks try and slow it down. You're going to have to get something else out of the bench for the Knicks, I think. Just like in this series, you're going to need Mitchell Robinson to keep doing what he's doing. I think he's going to be the difference maker. And then you're going to need somebody else off that bench, whether that's McBride, whether that's Campaign, whether that's OG, whoever it is, someone else on that bench. Because if you're going to be running back and forth with Indiana, you're going to have a hard time keeping up with them with just 5 guys. And by the time you get to game 5, game 6, game 7, potentially, you're going to run out of steam. So it's important for them to use the bench, give Chua even some time. I think he's going to have to play a few more minutes than he did in the Celtics series, but I am ready to go. This is the first time since I was in high school that this team has made it to the conference finals, and it just feels like back in the 90s, especially because they're playing Indiana. Jeff, how are you feeling?
It feels like it's their year, especially I feel like the Celtics were going to give them the most trouble out of any team, not just based on the Celtics talent, but just the historical nature of it, the psychology, and the fact that they passed the Celtics, and it wasn't a cakewalk, right? It looked like it was maybe going to be when Tatum went down, but it turned into a great series and a tough and gritty series. And the Knicks have had 2 series now where they had a fight, right? The Pistons and the Celtics. And you noticed how they played against the Celtics. Tough, the same way they did against the Pistons. The Knicks are a tough team. And I'll tell you this, I know the NBA, or the Pacers, I think, actually, aren't allowing Halliburton's dad in the stadium. I kind of want to see him there because it's going to attract views. I think it's a good idea to bring him. But in a way, I'm happy he's not there because he's kind of a clown. But with that said, Mike, you're right. As far as the matchup goes, great matchup. Knicks and Pacers is historic. The Reggie Miller, Spike Lee, damn near fist fight at that time. You're right about the bench. That's the Knicks' weakness, and they really have to find a way to get that done in this series. But I just feel like, I don't know. I mean, not even like put the stats aside for a second, just a gut feeling. I feel like it's the Knicks' time. I think they're going to get it done. I really do.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't watch a lot of NBA games. I'm not the biggest NBA fan. I was locked in on that whole game Friday night, and I was happy to see the Knicks beat the Celtics. Whenever I revert back and I kind of not start disliking the Knicks in that series. I remember Mikey saying, "Remember, there's a lot of New England Patriot fans in that audience."
Correct.
And that is what spurred me on. So, but I thought it was great. Just a great effort, a great night for New York, a really great night for New York, and I thought it was tremendous. Mikey, what is your prediction for Knicks Pacers?
So, before I get to my prediction, I want to say one last thing about Jalen Brunson. He has now elevated himself to just below, I think, the 70s Knicks team. He is, obviously, those guys are the best in terms of how they are revered. Those guys are obviously number one and will always be number one for them. But the way Brunson has gone on and just put this team on his back and been clutch and been money every single time, I'm going to put him above those Patrick Ewing teams, especially if he can somehow do something in this round and he gets to the finals. Yeah. You can 100% put him right up there with Patrick Ewing and Starks and those guys who got close as well, but never got over the hump. But it's certainly breaking in their direction. But in terms of this series, I think it's going to be another nail biter, just like it was. I think it's going to be Knicks in either 6 or 7, just because I think over time, their scores and Indiana can be very hot at times. They're going to have at least 1 or 2 games where they're going to shoot the lights out, kind of like the Celtics did in that last series. But there's going to be also times where they don't have the same scores that the Celtics do. And when they're not on, they don't have that oomph to get you back into a game. So I think over the long haul of this series, Knicks will take it over. I think Knicks in 6 or 7, depending on how many times Halliburton can, start hitting his shots. Jeff, what do we think?
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I got the Knicks in 6, maybe 7, possibly for the reasons you mentioned. But if I had to predict, I would say in 6. But yeah, I mean, listen, the Celtics or the Pacers can get hot. The Pacers can get hot, and that's the issue, right? But they can get very cold too, and they don't have like a Pritchard to light a fire, right?
Yeah.
They're a very ice cold or burning hot team, and the Knicks are kind of somewhere in the middle, right? They can get really hot, they can get a little cold. That's why the matchup is so great. But I would say if I had to predict Knicks in 6.
I'm actually going to say Pacers in 7.
Of course you are.
I think.
Shocker.
Yeah.
I think that they're very evenly matched.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think that the Pacers, even though they don't have a guy like Pritchard, I think the Pacers offense might be a little bit more diversified than the Celtics offense.
Mhm.
And I this is no knock against the Knicks. I think it's going to be a great series. And even if you lost to the Pacers, I don't think that you can look back and say it was a huge disappointment. Yeah, you beat the Celtics. Celtics are really good, but the Pacers are really good too. But I also, because I was getting the Pacers at plus 140, so so I took that chance. But yeah, but I think it's going to be a great series. I think, Jeff, me and you are going to be catching that in the casino in the on the boat.
Yep,
for sure. So,
yeah.
But that's going to be real interesting. Before we get to the Subway Series, I want to mention when I was down in South Jersey, we went to historic Smithville, and I was wearing my Jets shirt, and I had about 3 or 4 people that they commented on it. Actually, like most of them good. One gave me the thumbs down, and I told him, a couple of things that I don't want to say here because we want to keep this as, okay. But one guy, Big Dan from Queens, who is a Mets and a Jets fan, and now he is a Pathetic Podcast subscriber. So
Nice.
I was very happy to have Big Dan on board. We were talking about the Mets-Yankees series. I'm gonna, since it's 2-1 Yankees to Mets, you both against me, and that's how many games you won. I'm gonna give it to you guys first. Jeff, why don't you tell us your thoughts about the Subway Series and then kick it over to Mikey.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, potentially throwing jabs at each other today, right? If we won or you won. But to be honest, I'm not going to throw any jabs because it wasn't a sweep, right? It wasn't like a dominant performance. Even in game 3, the score didn't really tell the story. It was the Paul Goldschmidt, or it was a grand slam that was the real catapult, right? But listen, overall, it was a fun series. It was competitive. It's 2 great teams, right? That's exactly what you expected to get. The games could have gone either way. The crowd was really into it. I didn't love the F Soto chants because I just don't like acting like a jackass at games. But it did elevate the energy, I have to admit. And Soto, we'll get to him in a little bit, but he handled that like a champ, right? He didn't seem like he was uncomfortable. He even did like a little hat tip. But listen, Fried was amazing. 6 innings, 8 strikeouts. My boy Rodon, 5 innings, 1 earned run. That's 4 straight wins for Rodon now too. Even Schmidt in game 2 was good. The only problem I had with him, and this is just nitpicking, he's actually the one that prevented a possible sweep. If you remember, I think it was the 6th inning or maybe the 5th. He let Juan Soto steal third base when he was still holding the ball. Right? He didn't even pay attention to Soto at second base. The next pitch, when Soto's on third base, it's a sac fly, and the Yankees ultimately lost by 1. So thank God that didn't come back to bite them because that was a really boneheaded move. But games 2 and 3 were very, very competitive. Like I said, the Grand Slam really inflated the score in that game. It was a tight game. But at the end of the day, this is just a series, right? I'm not like overly celebrating. It was fun to beat the Mets. There's a little bit of bragging rights temporarily. But these are 2 teams that have bigger fish to fry, especially the Mets. And we'll get to them in a little bit. But the Yankees, listen, they deserve that win. I think you'll even agree with that, Uncle Ted. They earned those wins late in these games. Yep. And I'm on cloud 9 after that series for sure. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, Friday night, I was dancing for the Knicks. I was dancing for the Yankees. Friday night was one of my top sports. That's why I love doing this podcast, is for nights like Friday night, where you have your 2 teams winning games that are competitive. and fun, and you're excited. So great series. The mojo in the stadium was fantastic. It's a different animal when you go to those games for Subway Series. I've been to hundreds of Yankee games in my life. My favorite games to go to are those Subway Series games, even more than the Red Sox games, because in the Red Sox games, everyone in the stadium, with exception of a couple of jackasses, are all rooting for the Yankees in that stadium. When it's Subway Series, it's 60-40, whoever the home team is.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of the other fans in there, the chants going back and forth, the sarcastic banter going back and forth between different people in the stands. It's just the best feeling when you're in the stadium. So a great weekend of baseball. I think both teams represented themselves pretty well in those games. Nothing to really be super excited about. I think both teams have their flaws that came out at certain times in this series, but also teams had their strengths that came out as well. So just another 3 games, another series win for the Yankees. They keep piling up these series wins, and they have a nice, comfortable lead here in the AL East going forward. So,
yeah, I agree, Mike. Those Subway Series games are something that I think should never go away, because to me, when you're watching that, you have the same pit in your stomach that you do when your team is in a big playoff game. And any true Yankee fan or true Met fan that says that that's not true is lying, because you don't want to lose to the Yankees or you don't want to lose to the Mets. And I mean, I thought Friday night the Mets went in there with, like Jeff said, they have a different team now. They went in there kind of as a really, really, really good team. And I think they crapped the bed, basically. They went in there. I think they were a little starstruck. I think they were a little put out by the tremendous crowd. The Yankee fans were tremendous. And I hate them. I hate the fans, the Yankee fans. But I thought they did such a great job. Enough with the roll call from the bleacher creatures.
Oh, come on! That's no. That's third party hate right there.
Shut up, stupid. We get it.
I love that.
But it's the best.
But I really think the fans were great. The fans were really great, and it ticked me off that we lost 2 out of 3. But I mean, listen, like Jeff said, we got bigger fish to fry. Let's just move on. The thing that really bothers me is when you're losing games like that, and you've got Yankee friends who are Yankee fans, like a Ted Smallwood, who he's constantly texting you to rub it in about Soto and Alonso and Lindor, and this guy's not hitting. What do you think is the problem and all? And then finally, I just say to him, I'm not answering anymore. And like I do on Sundays during the football season, I'm going 0 dark 30, I tell him.
Yeah. I don't like the troll. I'm not a troll, right? I don't mind it. I'm a self-defense troll. I can troll with the best of them, but I don't like to start the trolling. It's just it's annoying to me because I don't like when people do it to me.
I know.
Because I fight back and I'll punch back, right? But with the Mets and the Yankees, it's most of the time it's a respectable troll, right? I have a bunch of buddies who I work with and, back in Jersey who are huge Met fans, and, we'll break each other's balls every now and then. Yeah. But I had a few people I know go to the game, and they said the crowd, the Mets and the Yankees, were awesome together to a degree. Yeah. There was a few, not scuffles, but just arguing or whatever.
Yeah.
But overall, there was nothing really bad that happened. It was just, 2 fan bases that wanted to win those games. And Uncle Ted, I am very disappointed that you don't like the roll call. I don't know if you truly hate it or you just hate the Yankee fans. You're mad they came up with a great idea like the roll call.
Yeah, well, I guess that could be it. I do hate the Yankee fans for the most part. Not obviously not you guys. But yeah, the roll call, it's just that, you're watching it on TV and it's like a Tuesday night with 14,000 people in stands and you got to hear Trent Grisham. All right, shut up. Just go get a job. Don't you have to get up in the morning? Don't you get up in the morning? Just stop. Enough.
I'm going to send a video of the top 10 roll calls of all time in our group chat tonight.
How could there be a top 10? It's the same roll call all the time.
The moves they make, like Gardner used to do the muscle thing.
Right.
I think Judge
Nick
does that
Swisher
too.
with the salute.
The salute. They do all kinds of different. You gotta appreciate the creativity.
Yeah,
Jeter with the glove, waving his hand with the glove. Jeter, all of those things are fantastic. I love it.
That's changing my mind. So then we come out of the Subway Series, right? And I'm not annoyed enough. But then I've got to have guys like Bob Clappish, John Heyman, Michael Kay, all talking about Soto looks really upset. Soto looks like he's not into it. He looks sad. People are telling me he wanted to go to the Yankees, but his family said he should go to the Mets. And, I got to tell you, first of all, do I think that Soto said that to anyone who would get that information out to the press? No, I don't.
No.
I think that a lot of that comes from, did Soto look extremely lethargic facially and body-wise? Yeah, he did. I think he's pissed at himself.
Yeah.
I think he's annoyed at himself. So you're going to extrapolate that into he wishes he was still a Yankee. Here's the thing. Not everybody just wants to be a Yankee. And not everybody wants to I'm not saying he wanted to be a Met. He went for the most money. He did that. But if Boston gave him the most money, he would have went to Boston or San Diego or whoever the hell gave him the money. But Yankee fans have this, and even like a guy like Michael Kay, who he'll tell you 100 times on the radio, I am not a Yankee fan. Bull crap, Michael. You're a Yankee fan. And he'll come out and he'll just be like, well, he should have understood. He had it so great with the Yankees and all. Yeah, Mike, everybody has it great with the Yankees. Everybody has such a great time. Awesome. Enough now. Enough. Unless you could substantiate. And then Michael Kay comes out and says, well, if the person denies that he told me that, he's lying. Well, then who told you, Mike? Who told you?
Yeah.
Tell us who told you. You hate anonymous sources when it came from the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, but this is an anonymous source that you're using and you won't tell us. Tell us, Mike. Tell us. I'm just.
Yeah, I don't think Juan Soto is mad he's a Met. Does he miss some things on the Yankees? I'm sure he does. It's just like anything else.
Sure.
Like if you leave a job and you do something, or you get whatever, paid more, better hours, whatever you're leaving a job for, you miss some things about your old job. So I don't doubt that. But I think, like you said, Uncle Ted, it's the body language. It's not great. I know Marte wanted him to get involved in some selfie they were doing, and he didn't want to do it. That wasn't a good look. I wouldn't read too much into it, but that's where these people are coming out of the woodwork saying Soto's not happy. So it's justified to say that. Personally, I don't think that he's unhappy. You can't be unhappy with his new luxurious lifestyle, right? But I will say this. And I'm fair, Uncle Ted, kidding aside, right? I'll try to tell it like it is, good and bad. If I'm a Met fan, I'm pissed off at Juan Soto right now. I just am. And it's not because of the way he's playing, but it's hard as a sports fan sometimes to not, to not make the excuses. For example, like with Eli Manning, right? Like for years, I was blaming the offensive line, blaming the coaches, Robinson Cano, blaming, his lack of hustle, on other things, his swag. He wants to look good. The reality is the fact that he's not hustling Juan Soto is a disgrace because he's not hustling. And there is no other way to say it. He's dogging it. Now, he's not a lazy player, so I'm not saying that. But I think he's so mad at himself that he's not energized right now. And that has to change, right? Yes. Because if you're not going to get energized and want to be out there and hustle, then this, I don't want to say bad because he's not bad, but this average to below average play is not going to get better. When you're making, almost $1 billion and you have a private jet for your family, suites for people, right? And you're not going to hustle. And I'm also sick of hearing that, well, he gets on base. Okay. Like every team has a player that just gets on base and they're making the league minimum, right? So, again, I'm not going to sit here and say he misses the Yankees and he hates the Mets like a lot of Yankee fans are right now. But I have to admit, Mike, the optics, it certainly looks like that.
Well, believe it or not, I'm going to try and talk everybody off the ledge and kind of be the voice of reason when it comes to Soto here, which is very strange for me to do, but I feel like I have to do it because everybody else is going berserk. You know, the reporters are foaming at the mouth at this opportunity.
Yeah.
You knew that if he got off to any sort of slow start, that all of the reporters were going to come out. I'm surprised Manish Mehta hasn't come out and said something about him at this point, because it's like everyone's coming out because they can just jump onto this narrative. Let's go back 4 years ago, 2022, Juan Soto. Okay. He had a year where he was in a bit of a transition. He still had a 400 on base percentage, but he only batted 242 that year with 27 home runs, and he only drove in 62 runs in that season. And San Diego loved it enough to stick with him. It was a transition year. He got traded in the middle of the season to San Diego because the Nationals weren't going anywhere, and he wanted to go somewhere where he had a chance to do something. And he got used to the situation, and you look at the next year, 35 home runs, 109 RBIs, 275 batting average, scoring all these runs all over the place. So let's let him get used to being the guy in New York, because he wasn't the guy last year with the Yankees. He was 1A to him, and Judge were exactly on the same level at that point. So they weren't focusing just on him. Let's get him used to being the guy in the Mets.
Yeah.
And I think next year you're going to see him be the Juan Soto that the Mets paid for, because right now he's going through what a lot of people do when they are the guy in New York, is they get all the slings and arrows coming at you. And if you get off to a slow start and people start talking and you get all this money, that's exactly what happens. So let's cool it. Let's take the temperature down. Let's turn off the social media and the anonymous sources, and let's let him get his feet wet here and start doing what he's going to be doing, because the talent is still there. He is a great player. He has unbelievable plate control. He does not swing at anything out of the ordinary. He is over the last couple of weeks, which is always surprising, but the guy is an unbelievable talent. So let's take the temperature down and let's let him get his feet settled, and let's see how he does for the full season, and B, going forward. Because you're going to have him for 15 years, especially if he's not producing anywhere. Because he's certainly not going to opt out if he's not doing anything close to the numbers that they're hoping that he was.
Well, Michael Kay, Mr. in the middle, Mr. who's not a Yankee fan, he was the same guy that for 3 years, 2.5 years, did nothing but bash Lindor. And look at Lindor. Lindor is beloved by the Met fans.
He's a Derek Jeter of the Mets.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you can ask Mike, Jeff, from the time they got Lindor, I was on board with that. I mean, how do you not love him? And I agree, Mike. I think you're 100% right that what's going to happen is he's getting settled in. He's gonna be okay. Maybe even by the end of the year he'll be okay. But the thing is, you're right. He's in a new place, and these guys most of them have all been together. He has not. He's the new guy in there, and we'll see. I don't think he's lost his talent.
No. The one thing you worry about though with him is the attitude. He doesn't, and I'm not saying he isn't happy with the Mets, but he's in a funk right now mentally, I feel like, because when you're not hustling, that's a mental thing, right? When you strike out, that's a physical thing. That's just part of the game. When you're not hustling at all, and again, he's just not hustling. He's not working hard. There's something inside of him that's either he's feeling a lot of pressure because of the contract.
Yeah.
He's missing something in New York. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But if that doesn't change, this is not going to be a good season for Juan Soto. It's just not. It's going to be 250. Maybe 22 to 25 home runs. And to me, he has to fix that before we talk about the physical. Because, Mike, as you mentioned, and I'm with you, this is a slow start. It's kind of a long start, but it's okay. He can turn around and, still crank out 40 home runs. But step number one is to get out of this mental thing he's in right now.
I think he will. And I'll tell you this. I think a guy that's going to really help him get out of that is the person who's the manager of the Mets right now, Mendoza.
Mhm.
I think I heard an interview with him today where he talked about him not really hustling. And they said, well, Juan said he hustled. And he goes, well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that.
Right.
He should
And
have admitted it.
right. And, he didn't throw him under the bus. He didn't get crazy. Mendoza doesn't go crazy. Mendoza just
No.
takes things as it comes. And, somebody said, do we have to get the social media and all the outside distractions out of the players' heads? And he goes, well, that's my job.
No.
He says, and right now I'm not doing a great job of that. That's going to change.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be okay, but I don't think he's going to hit. I don't know if he's going to hit 25 home runs, but to me, the thing I want to see change is I want to see a smile back on his face. I want to see that little dance thing he does, and I just want to see him coming up with some big hits. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not. You can't say he's got to hit 45 home runs or whatever the heck it is. Just just do something, because right now it's not only him; it's this whole damn team that's so lethargic.
I was just going to say that. He has been masked for most of this season so far by the way that Alonso has played, how Lindor has played, and all of a sudden, all of those guys are not hitting and have kind of come back to earth a little bit with their play.
Yep.
And you would expect at that point for Soto to jump up and do something, but it just hasn't happened yet. Because again, I think part of it is the adjustment. But
yeah,
that's the reason why this is such a huge story, is because everybody else is not hitting either.
Right.
It's not just Juan Soto on this team. There are Alonso. You're expecting Alonso to do a lot of things. You're expecting Lindor to do a lot of things at this point. And over the last few weeks, they haven't really done much in terms of their hitting is basically stopped at this point.
Right. So,
and guys, remember, this is baseball. And right now, the Mets clearly are in the beginning stages of a slump. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're down 2-0 right now to the Red Sox.
Yep.
And the Yankees haven't had that long slump yet, but it's going to come where they're just playing like pure garbage, right? They've had some bad games. So that like 3-week disaster where they win like 2 or 3 games is coming. And that maybe the Mets here right now, but you can't overreact to everything. That's why that's the beauty of baseball. Why I actually love the long season, because it allows for these little glitches. And when you're in a sport where 300, where 3 out of 10 is good, you have to have a long season. You can't make it short, right? So look, the Mets are in a weird spot right now, but listen, Soto's getting paid a lot of money, and he has to do well. He's got to have elite numbers. I'm sorry, like the standard for Soto isn't 20 home runs or batting 270. Like, he should be at 290 to 300. And Uncle Ted, I slightly disagree. I think he should be at 35 to 40 home runs, man. Like, you're getting paid almost $1 billion with all these concessions.
Not
that
this year.
is the standard.
The way he's off now, I don't know if he's going to reach that number this
year.
Oh,
he's definitely not. Yeah, he's definitely not this year. He doesn't have to. You know what he has to do? Like you said, and you're right.
Yeah.
Juan Soto, I don't even know what his stats are, like his career numbers. What I do know is, in a big game, that's the guy you want.
Yep.
All it takes, like, this guy can have a crap season all season. If he hits a big home run in the NLDS or whatever, then this whole thing is forgotten. Everything we're talking about, right?
I mean, you saw him in the playoffs last year when they're throwing a pitch at him and they get one by him and he shakes his head like, you're not going to get that one by me again. He's really into that game. And you want to see that. That's what you want to see. Like you said, you want to see that fire out of him. You want to see him say, I am not letting this crap happen to me anymore. I am going to take control of this. I'm going to let my God-given talent take over and start doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's a perfect segue, Jeff, into our first check-in of this season. We are just about at Memorial Day weekend. The pool is up. The grills are getting fired up here. The hot dogs are getting ordered. I am ready for this weekend. It's one of my favorite weekends of the year, is Memorial Day weekend, just because of all the pomp and circumstance about it. All the American flags come out. It is just a great American weekend of just, being with your friends and family and having an extra day to reflect in the morning, but also have that extra time to enjoy yourself. But usually right at the beginning of Memorial Day weekend is when you're going to first check in on the baseball teams. We've talked a little bit about the Yankees and Mets. We know what their flaws are, but I just want to go back to our picks at the beginning of the season, and kind of see where we are when it comes to these. So we all have the Cincinnati Reds over 78.5 wins. They are right now, let me pull them up here. I should have had the standings up already, but I believe they're right about 500. So they are, Cincinnati is 25-24. So they are right off to a good start.
Yeah.
We like that one quite a bit. We have the Blue Jays over 78.5. They are at 22-24. They're teetering. They're right there. I think the biggest surprise in the AL East is how bad Baltimore has been. I mean, we all said that they were going to take a step back, but I mean, this is stepping off a cliff. I mean, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
There, but I want to get to the one that we had a little bit of a disagreement on. The Oaklamento A's, 71.5 wins was the over-under number. They are right now 22-26, on pace for about 78 wins at this point. Playing really good baseball, especially away from the whatever they want to call it in Sacramento. They're 14-12 away from Sacramento. So I had them as an over. Jeff, I know you had them as a way under.
Under. I was even I was a jerk about it too. I'm like, Mike, you're a fool. You're a fool. Well, you can. I'm the fool today because the A's are definitely. I mean, they're definitely going over unless they do what the A's do and lose.
What was the number, Mike?
In a row.
71.5 is the number.
Yeah. They have like what? They have like 24 wins now. What was it?
22 wins right now.
22. Yeah. If they keep playing like
and
this,
they lost 6 in a row. So before that, they were 22-20. So they were in a really good spot up until about a week ago, and they've lost 6 in a row. So, but I think they'll still roll out of it. I think they have enough talent on that team to continue to do that. We have the Red Sox, 86.5. You guys both had overs. I had the under on them. I'm going to have egg on my face on this one. I think they are just about at 500. And I think they are going to do something at the trade deadline to get themselves going.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
And there'll be at least a 2-horse race, probably a 3-horse race in the American League East with them and Toronto. I think those 3 teams are going to, at some point, they have to start playing each other, and it's going to be really entertaining baseball coming down the stretch here. So, Yankees just got to keep winning the series. So we had, for the totals for the Mets, we had, Ted, you had just over at 92 wins. I had them just over at 91 wins. And Jeff, you had them as an over. I don't think you gave a specific number on those. But let's talk about where we think this Mets team is going forward. And on our first checkpoint here, Ted, I'll let you go first when it comes to the Mets.
I still think I'm going to stick with my number for wins. I do think they are in a slump. There's no question about that. But the one thing that gives me hope is that their pitching has been okay. Like they're losing 2-0 tonight. Clay Holmes gave up 2 single home runs in 6 innings. And the thing is, if you give up 2 runs as the Mets starter, you should win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, Kodai Senga gave up 3 runs, and they're just not hitting with men in scoring position. So I think as long as the pitching keeps doing what it's doing, and quite honestly, since last year, the pitching's been doing what it should be doing. Whatever they're doing. But they've got to start hitting, and I think they will. So I'm going to stick with my number, and I'm hoping we win the East. Those damn Phillies passed us by a half a game. I hate them so much. But
and look out for Atlanta. They're coming up too at this point. They're
above 500 now, right?
They've made it back all of the big hole that they dug themselves in going forward.
Yep.
Jeff, what do you think Mets checkpoint as of right now?
I think they're fine, to be honest. I really do. I don't think there shouldn't be, at least, a cause for an overreaction or an over concern. Again, I think it has to go back to Soto. He's got to play better, period. But obviously you want to see Alonso get back to what he was doing. He's in a pretty cold streak right now. The pitching is fine. I mean, even tonight, Uncle Ted. I mean, if they give up 2 runs, that's not his fault, right?
Right.
They got to score at least 3 runs to win a damn game.
Yeah.
So the checkpoint. Listen, I think the Mets are fine. They're a good team. We saw it. I watched them closely, really for the first time, right, all year because I'm really focused on the Yankees, right? So I'm watching that game. And they're a good team, man. They are. They're just a little off. And one thing they have to do better is runners in scoring position. I mean, they leave an ocean on base, right? They get hits. Like, I don't know what their batting average is as a team. It's got to be pretty good, I would imagine. But their runners in scoring position average has to be a disaster because
Yeah,
they
it's like
just don't.
168.
Yeah, they don't get the guys in. Right. So I think if I'm the Mets, I like the pitching a lot because of what we expected preseason. Don't like what I'm seeing from Soto on a lot of levels. Love what I'm seeing from Alonso despite the slump. He's going to have a good year. And I love the pitching. So they're fine. They'll be okay.
Yeah. I'm going to disagree with you guys for one thing about the pitching. The pitching has not been okay. The pitching has been unbelievable. They lead the league in ERA, 2.87. They are pitching. You can't pitch better than what they're doing. The thing that they need to work on is what every team needs to work on, like you said, Jeff, is runners in scoring position. You can't win games with scoring no runs or 1 run or 2 runs even a game. You're not going to win a whole lot of games doing that. The pitching is doing exactly what you want it to do. You just have to have the hitting come around. All these guys are in a slump at the same time, which will happen in a baseball season, but you are right where you want to be. You're right battling for first place. You are comfortably over 500. Even with what's gone on over the last couple of weeks here, this is going to pass. You're going to be locked in at Citi Field over the next few weeks. You're going to have huge crowds at Citi Field every single night. When they come home and play the Dodgers, that place is going to be unbelievable. So I'm not panicking if I'm a Mets fan. I'm upset with where we are. Things have to change in terms of what we need to do, especially with, as you guys said, Soto. But I'm pretty right where I thought they would be at this point. So I'm also going to stick with my 91 wins as an over for them going forward.
Yeah. And then as far as the Yankees, we got to talk about too, right? Because right now, 27-19. I think they're 4.5 games ahead right now of Boston. Things are going well, right? Rodon, I'm going to keep saying that because that's my bragging right, is having a great year. Max Fried, needless to say, having a Cy Young year. To me, the star of the show is Paul Goldschmidt, just because it's his first year in New York, which is no easy feat. Obviously, Judge is having the best year out of all of them, like he always does. But as far as what Goldschmidt was up against, which usually is booze, right? When you first come to New York, he came in and is having a phenomenal year. Bellinger seems to be coming around too. He's 7 for his last 11. Seems to be getting comfortable at the plate. Trent Grisham has been a star this year. And one thing the Yankees have, Mike, is they have threats all over the lineup, right? Which was not the case last year. It was Soto and Judge and Stanton every now and then when he was healthy, right? Now, speaking of Stanton, Yankees got some, however you want to look at it, some bad news. Stanton apparently had a little bit of a setback, and he's not even close to coming back. I'll tell you this, I'm not so sure that's bad news. I'm not rooting on injury for the guy, but I don't know where Stanton's going to fit in this lineup. I don't want anything or anybody messing with Ben Rice right now. I want him to get as many games in as possible because he's a young player with a huge future for us, right? Stanton could disrupt that progress. And by the way, he hit a home run tonight too, a rice ball, which I just learned about tonight. They call it a rice ball. I like that. 10 on the season. And the last thing I'll add here before I kick it back to you, we got to talk about Aaron Boone, man. And I know Boone gets a lot of hate. Someone's got to wake me up when this guy has a losing season because he never does, right? The guy's got 630 wins with teams that were nowhere near as talented as Girardi and Torrey had. The guy makes the playoffs every year. And we don't give the manager enough credit in baseball because it's not like football, right, where you're involved in like every play. But this team has talent, but I think a lot of it has to do with the way Boone manages. I think he does a great job, and the numbers speak for themselves. So as far as a grade, I give the Yankees probably a B+. And I think they're going to go over the number that I said.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said there. I'm going to say this. I don't think this Yankee team is playing as well as it certainly can. I think there are a lot of times where you've seen a couple of these guys get into slumps. You saw Volpe go into a pretty big slump. You saw Jazz before he got hurt, got a little bit of a slump going on. And terrible what happened to Cabrera in that game where his ankle was going in the wrong direction. And the bullpen was pretty scary for a good chunk of the season.
Yeah.
They figured it a lot out. I think Devin Williams has kind of settled in this setup role. I don't think you want to move him back to closer at this point. You want to keep everything going because everything seems to be working in that case as of right now.
Yep.
And despite all of that, we're 5 games up in the division. No one in the division is really chasing us at this point. I think that's going to change. I think that some of these teams are going to catch fire, especially when they start playing head-to-head with everyone, that it's going to get into a race. But the Yankees team is also not firing, I don't think, on all cylinders. I think there's a chance for this team to be even better than what it is right now. So I am going to say it's a B- for me for the Yankees so far because of a lot of those issues with the bullpen. And I think you're going to have to go out and get another starter at some point here. Hopefully Heel comes back and can be himself going forward. I think that could be your acquisition, but I think you even need one more after that because I don't want to see any of these bullpen games. This is the Yankees we're talking about. You can't be doing bullpen games as the New York Yankees going forward. We're not the Tampa Bay Rays. We're not the Athletics who have to go and do a bullpen game because we're smarter than everybody else. Let's get a good starter in here. Let's make a trade. We got a lot of assets in the farm system here that we can make a move for, or call one of these guys up and let's see him pitch because I hate these bullpen games. But Ted, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this Yankee season so far.
I don't think anybody in the AL East is going to come close to the Yankees this year. I think they're going to be at least as good, have as many wins as I thought they would, if not more. I don't think they're a tremendous team. Honestly, right now, I don't think there are any tremendous teams out there, really good teams. But I think the Yankees are going to win that division easy. I'll tell you, the one team you missed talking about, Mike, when we were talking about our picks, I said the Detroit Tigers were going to have a monster year.
Yep.
And they are having a monster year.
Best record in baseball.
How fun would it be to see the Detroit Tigers and the Yankees in like an AL championship series? And for me, the reason is because, Jeff, you know me, I'm like one of those guys. I'm like those old school throwback guys. I love that stuff. Yeah. But to see that old school Detroit uniform with the D on the chest, with the D on the hat, thinking back when they had Mickey Lolich and guys like that, and then against the Yankees, and I know it's not Tiger Stadium, it's Comerica, but still, I think that would be a great series.
The only thing missing from that would be the overhanging right field seats.
Yeah, how
that
crazy
they used to have at Tiger Stadium, right?
Yeah,
but I think the Yankees are going to be great.
I agree too, Uncle Ted. I wouldn't say they're tremendous. Like you said, there never is, except the Dodgers last year, I guess, tremendous. There's a lot of bad teams, but there's not a lot of great teams. But one thing, and I get a good gauge for me, at least, with the Yankees, the fact that I almost forgot that Luis Heel was here on the team tells you where the team is. Because, yes, I want him back. But I remember in the beginning of the season, maybe our first episode, certainly the first one we talked about baseball, I said that the Yankees have to tread water, even hover around 500 until Heel comes back because the pitching it looked like it was going to be a disaster. I honestly I knew he was here, but I'm not like, oh my God, where's Heel? I don't think about it, right? So I think that to me is a good gauge of where I think the Yankees are, which again, circles back to Boone. The guy pushes the right buttons. He puts the right people in at the right time. And right now the pitching, I'm not a big Schmidt guy. I don't trust him. Right. But Rodon and Fried are just they're pitching phenomenal right now, and they're winning games.
A guy I don't like is Cashman, but I think Cashman did a really good job. I think Cashman did a really good job.
1 year.
I got to share that picture on the.
You hear that, Cashman?
Yeah. But I think he's done a really good job putting this team together. and rebounding from losing Soto
Yeah.
and spending the money the way he spent it and still leaving himself some money. So at the trade deadline, if he has to do something, he could do something.
Yeah.
So, guys, I know we were going to talk about some top 5 stuff. What I would like to do, why don't we just have one episode when we come back from the cruise where we do our top 5 hated teams, we do our top 5 sports movies, and we do our top 5 sports players who do cameos in movies. All right.
I like it.
We'll do one episode just that. So this way we can really get into it, because I think when we get to the sports movies part, we're going to have a lot of back and forth. I think we're going to have, and the great thing is, anybody listening, send us an email, patheticthepodcast@gmail.com. Send us your top sports movies, top movies where a sports player made a cameo, and your most hated teams. And also, Jeff, I think you mentioned Will Reapy was the one who came up with the idea for the hated teams.
Yeah, he came up with the top 5 or top 3. I think it was top
Hated
5
teams.
hated teams and top 5 favorite sports moments of our
sports
lifetimes.
moments. Okay, we could do that too.
That was there were 2. It was the
I
hated
like
teams
those.
and the sports moment. The sports moments, that's a great one. We'll lock that one in too.
I got it. I would like to say live where we were there, but I have a tremendous advantage over you guys because of age.
I don't know. I have a couple that I'm feeling pretty good at when it comes to that.
Some really good ones.
But I would say
let's include
5 that we saw. You can't go back and say, "Oh, I'm gonna go with the
Babe Ruth calling a shot."
Right, exactly. Or Roger Maris hitting the 61st home run. I can't say that. So
yeah.
And the other thing is we're kind of up on time because I want to get to Mikey's. Mikey's got a couple of mush picks for us. Mike, the Preakness, I mean, it didn't go exactly the way we thought it would, right? I mean, it was a really great race. Journalism ran a great race, really great race.
I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that jockey earned every single dollar that he got to make that run coming down the stretch. Oh, my goodness. That was exciting. I mean, that really made that race because he got blocked every single way. I was thinking people were thinking they were colluding against him trying to win that race the way they blocked him. They were elbowing. I was expecting to get like a 2-minute elbowing penalty at that point with some of the stuff going on. And for him to go out and to make it through there and find the hole and get through that, hats off to that guy. I want if I ever own a horse, I want that guy jockeying my horse.
And our horse Sandman ran a good race and really was coming flying at the end. You know, maybe if the race was longer, he would have got closer, but it isn't. You know, as my dad used to say, if the queen had gonads, should be the king. So we can't really, pick that. But yeah, it was exciting. I'm looking forward to the Belmont. I really am. And I'm probably at this point sticking with Sandman. You know, if he runs. So
but that's the one thing. Those 2 horses, Journalism and Sandman, it's going to be tough for them because they've run in those first 2 races, and I think some of those, especially Sandman, I think they might pull him from the Belmont because of the fact that he's running those 2 hard races going back and forth. Especially, I think Journalism too may not be. They might be saving him for the Travers or the Haskell later on in the summer. Give him a little bit of a break before going up to Saratoga for the Belmont, because those are 2 tough races. The mud in Kentucky, and then the what he had to do to get through that trip to the Preakness. I think those are 2 tough ways to go. But great race.
Let's try to go to that Haskell, Mike, if he's in it.
Yeah.
Let's try to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
See if we can do that. So, Mike, you have a couple of picks. Did you make picks last week?
I did.
And
so if you rode me on the rodeo, my boy, my Brazilian paisan, Jose Vitor Leme, rode 4 out of 4, didn't fall off the bull once the entire time. He was the only guy who didn't fall off the bull the entire night. in Dallas, and he won 7-1 winner. You're welcome. Love it. Unbelievable night down there at AT&T Stadium. Now, for my Italian cycling pick, Adam Yates, I think he's still in the mountains somewhere. He's in 41st place right now. There's still some more races going on, so he's only about 2 minutes off the pace right now, so maybe he's got a shot. I don't know how these things go, but, he's in 41st place right in the middle of the peloton or whatever they call that thing. But so we'll see how that to be determined on that one, but not looking good. But if we look at our picks for this week, there is a championship that's getting decided on Saturday, and it is the best word that you hear in professional lacrosse is Game 3 of the finals. Just like Game 7 for all the other sports, it's Game 3. So my pick for this week is in the National Lacrosse League up there in Buffalo. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bandits at home, -1.5 goals against the Saskatchewan Rush in the championship. It's win or go home at this point to win the Lacrosse Cup or whatever. I don't know what the name of the trophy is, but they're playing for a trophy in Buffalo. I'm going to take them -1.5. And because it's me, I'm also going to take the over of 21.5 goals in that game as well. I think you're going to get a lot of scoring, a lot of excitement. That game is Saturday afternoon at 4:30. So while you're grilling, if your baseball's not entertaining you, go turn on ESPN2. The lacrosse final will be on Saturday afternoon. And have yourself a great Memorial Day weekend. I know you guys will be sailing away on your cruise ship, but everyone else have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Mikey, you too. Enjoy it. We're going to be, Jeff and I will be back the week after Memorial Day, the next full week after Memorial Day. We're going to try to put up a few things on like Instagram or whatever, out there. We'll, right, Jeff? We'll, maybe from the casino.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Especially we'll be watching the Knicks game.
Yeah.
We'll be watching the Knicks game too. So we'll take some videos, some of the shenanigans we'll be doing. So
yes.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
Jeff singing karaoke on the ship, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Listen. Someone's got to sign me up while I'm in the bathroom like the last time. Like,
right.
I'm not signing up myself. So
Mike,
if you can pull that off, then do it.
Do you need any videos from the pool on the boat or anything like that? We can send them over to you.
I'll take whatever you guys can get. Well, keep an eye out on this channel as well. You may see a couple of things and some special guests along the way next week. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to keep things fun. I'm going to keep things light, and we're going to talk a lot of Knicks because Eastern Conference Finals. I'm going to be locked in tomorrow night on Wednesday when this comes at when the Game 1 happens. So,
all right,
have a great time on the ship, guys. Stay on the ship. Don't fall overboard. Take your Dramamine, whatever you got to do to make sure you're good, and have a blast. I wish I was coming with you.
Quick funny story about a cruise. So I put a glass, like vase or something glass in front of my balcony door because I sleepwalk. So I'm always afraid I'm going to like sleepwalk and jump off the ship. So I keep like a metal or glass thing in front of my door. So if I do knock it over, it'll wake me up. So when you say stay on the boat, Mike, you're not kidding. Like that's a literal thing I have to make sure I do. So,
so I have 3 grandchildren going. I have to worry about now. I got to worry about you.
Yeah. I got it set up though. I'm good. I got the setup good.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. We will see you soon. Be on the lookout for a quick pop-up with Mikey and some special guests. Everyone have a great Memorial Day, and we'll see you again soon. Good night.